Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to put on our analyst hats and deconstruct a breaking, highly fragmented news broadcast. Specifically, we're looking at this early report from ATN Bangla regarding US-Iran tensions. You know, when international news first breaks, those early reports are, well, they're chaotic. It's usually just these snippets of translation and garbled audio. So we're going to rely entirely on the raw data today to see what kind of story is actually being told through all that noise.
And right away, boom, we are dropped into some incredibly high-stakes territory. This translated headline is the literal foundation for today's puzzle. It reads, U.S. forces have attacked Iran again. Is Iran preparing for a counterattack? Iran-U.S. war. Wow. I mean, that is dramatic, it's urgent, and it establishes a massive, massive claim right out of the gate. But as analysts, we don't just take the headline at face value, right? We've got to use it as a starting point to dig for the underlying data.
Which brings us to Section 1, the breaking broadcast.
So this headline forces a really specific dynamic on the viewer. On one side, we've got this definitive, explosive claim of a U.S. forces strike. And then on the other side, we have the speculative, forward-looking claim that Iran is preparing some kind of retaliation. It basically sets up a direct cause-and-effect loop in your mind. Our job now is to figure out how these heavy, world-altering claims are actually supported by what the reporter is saying.
Let's move on to Section 2, unpacking the sources.
Okay, so the absolute crucial first step here is figuring out where our data is actually coming from. This report comes to us from ATN Bangla News, and buried within this really raw, highly sparse transcript, we actually find a specific reporter reference, someone named Busbit Taj. Now look, the transcript we have is full of gaps and untranslated tags. It's honestly a bit of a mess. But in a sparse report like this, literally every single recognizable English word acts like a vital clue. It shows us exactly what the network is prioritizing for its audience.
All right, on to Section 3, key players and commands. Sifting through that broken audio, three distinct entities suddenly emerge. First, we hear the New York Times. Second, President Donald Trump. And third, we get this highly fragmented, kind of weird phrase, Command for Marin Central. Now, even though the audio is totally garbled, think about what's happening here. Explicitly calling out a major Western newspaper, a sitting U.S. president, and a military command. I mean, that is a highly strategic move. It instantly lends real geopolitical weight to that explosive headline we just talked about.
Let's zero in on that last fragment for a second. Command for Marin Central. We have to do a little bit of detective work here. Given the context of a U.S.-Iran conflict, this is almost certainly a transcription or translation artifact for U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM. That's the specific U.S. military entity that's actually responsible for operations in the Middle East. By pulling the specific command into the mix, it anchors the broadcast's claims to a very real, very serious operational reality.
And then, of course, we have the direct mention of President Donald Trump. When a news broadcast invokes a specific head of state like this, it really does two things. Number one, it anchors this fragmented report to a specific chronological administration. And number two, it immediately skyrockets the stakes. Suddenly, this report isn't just about abstract military forces anymore, it's tied directly to the commander-in-chief.
Okay, let's wrap this up in Section 4, the core conflict.
Amidst all the static, all those audio gaps and the raw transcripts we've been combing through, one English word cuts through with pretty alarming clarity, and that word is destroy. Just that single word. But think about it. When you take the ominous inclusion of destroy and you place it right next to a U.S. president and Central Command, well, you start to see exactly how this broadcast uses rhetoric to reinforce that terrifying opening headline about military strikes and severe retaliation. It all pieces together.
So we've seen how names, military commands, and aggressive verbs are all kind of stitched together to broadcast this super high-stakes narrative. The question I really want to leave you guys with today is this. With fragmented reports citing U.S. forces, Central Command, and literal threats to destroy, what does this ongoing cycle of broadcasted rhetoric actually mean for regional stability? When the information hitting the airwaves is this explosive, yet this fragmented and chaotic, how does that impact the global stage? It's a lot to think about. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.